The Curse of Kiyotaki Tunnel. A long Japanese horror story inspired by urban legends and historical rumors. The rain began just after midnight. Thin drops tapped against the windshield as Hiroshi Tanaka drove along the empty mountain road outside Kyoto. His headlights barely pierced the heavy fog that curled through the forest like pale fingers. The deeper he drove into the mountains, the quieter the world became. No cars. No lights. Only endless trees and the sound of rain. Hiroshi checked the GPS again. The screen flickered strangely before freezing. Perfect, he muttered. He was a freelance journalist who specialized in urban legends. For years he had traveled across Japan investigating abandoned hospitals, cursed shrines, and ghost stories that most people laughed at. But one place had always remained at the top of his list. Kiyotaki Tunnel. The tunnel had terrified locals for decades. Some claimed it was haunted by construction workers who died building it. Others believed spirits of accident victims wandered through the darkness searching for revenge. Hiroshi never truly believed in ghosts. Until that night. The old warning. Earlier that evening, Hiroshi had stopped at a tiny ramen shop near the mountain road. The old owner froze when he heard Hiroshi mention the tunnel. "You should not go there after dark," the old man warned quietly. Hiroshi smiled. "You don't believe the stories?" The owner's expression never changed. "My brother disappeared there 20 years ago." The room became silent. "He entered the tunnel with 3 friends," the old man continued. "Only 2 came back." "What happened?" "They refused to speak about it." "And your brother?" The old man slowly looked toward the window where rain slid down the glass. "They found his car near the tunnel entrance 3 days later." Hiroshi leaned forward. "But not him?" The old man shook his head. "Never found the body." The tunnel. At 1:13 a.m., Hiroshi finally saw it. The entrance emerged from the fog like a black mouth carved into the mountain itself. Moss covered the old concrete walls. Rusted warning signs stood crooked near the road. The tunnel looked far smaller than he expected. Yet something about it felt wrong. The darkness inside seemed unnaturally deep, swallowing the beam of his headlights. Hiroshi parked near the entrance and grabbed his camera. The moment he stepped outside, icy wind rushed through the trees. Then he heard it. A woman crying. Soft. Distant. Somewhere inside the tunnel. Hiroshi's heartbeat quickened, but excitement pushed him forward. He switched on his flashlight and began walking. Water dripped from the ceiling. The air smelled of wet stone and decay. His footsteps echoed endlessly. Halfway through the tunnel, the flashlight flickered. Then died. Seriously? He slapped it against his palm. Nothing. The darkness around him became absolute. Then. Footsteps. Not his. Slow footsteps behind him. Hiroshi turned sharply. Nothing. Only darkness. But the sound continued. Closer. 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 His breathing became shaky. "Who's there?" Silence. Then a woman's voice whispered beside his ear. "Why did you come here?" Hiroshi stumbled backward, slamming against the tunnel wall. He switched on his camera light with trembling hands. The tunnel was empty. But fresh water footprints covered the ground behind him. Barefoot prints. Leading toward him. The girl in white. Hiroshi forced himself to continue walking. The tunnel suddenly felt much longer than before. Far longer. He should have reached the other side already. But the exit remained distant. Then he saw her. A young woman stood motionless near the center of the tunnel. White dress. Long black hair hanging over her face. Bare feet. She looked soaked from the rain. Hiroshi froze. The woman slowly lifted her head. Her skin was pale gray. Her eyes were completely black. And her neck bent at an impossible angle. Hiroshi's blood turned cold. The woman opened her mouth. A horrible cracking sound echoed through the tunnel. Then she smiled. Hiroshi ran. His footsteps splashed wildly across the wet ground as the tunnel stretched endlessly before him. Behind him came the sound of bare feet slapping against the concrete. Faster. 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 He risked a glance backward. The woman was no longer walking. She was crawling upside down across the tunnel ceiling. The accident. Hiroshi burst out of the tunnel and collapsed beside his car, gasping for air. The rain had stopped. The forest was silent. He looked behind him. The tunnel entrance stood empty. No woman. No sounds. Nothing. Hiroshi laughed nervously. Hallucinations, he whispered. He jumped into the car and sped down the mountain road. Then his headlights illuminated someone standing in the middle of the road. A little boy. Soaked in water. Hiroshi slammed the brakes. The child slowly pointed toward the back seat. Hiroshi turned. The woman in white sat directly behind him. Smiling. The car swerved violently. Metal screamed. Glass exploded. Darkness swallowed everything. 3 days later. Police found Hiroshi's wrecked car at the bottom of a ravine near the tunnel road. The driver's door was open. His camera remained inside. But Hiroshi himself was gone. The police searched the forest for weeks. No body was ever recovered. Only the camera footage remained. Most of it was corrupted. But the final video still exists according to local rumors. The footage shows Hiroshi running through the tunnel while screaming in terror. At the very end, just before the recording cuts off, the camera briefly captures dozens of pale figures standing inside the darkness. Watching him. Waiting. And among them stood a woman in white with black eyes and a broken neck. Smiling directly into the camera. The curse continues. Even today, locals avoid Kiyotaki Tunnel after sunset. Drivers still report strange figures appearing in rearview mirrors. Some hear children laughing inside the darkness. Others claim the tunnel becomes longer at midnight. And according to the oldest legend, if you hear someone crying while walking through the tunnel, never look back. Because the moment you do, the spirits will know your face.